what was Ramaphosa's main message to voters yesterday?
Right, Joumanna, this was really a conciliatory message from the president, and we could surely see that throughout the day as he was dancing and smiling and, just speaking in front of a number of African leaders. But really, he did say that this was the voters deciding to choose peace and democracy over conflict. That was, of course, the concern going into this election, potentially what would happen if the ruling ANC were to lose that majority. And he's saying that, what this result now means for the country is that, no, there's not going to be one single party governing over this country, but multiple parties. So really trying to sort of put aside the previous rivalries and the conflicts between the parties and show that he is ready to start governing with these other parties. Now, the question is, what does that actually look like in practice? Of course, we are waiting to see what are the cabinet positions that he is going to decide on, whether or not he's going to keep his large cabinet that he has right now, and also where are the concessions he is going, what are the concessions he's going to be making to some of the other rival parties that are now in this government of national unity. He's surely going to have to do that since the ANC is not the majority, and especially because investors are paying close attention to how the makeup of this government is going to help accelerate and continue to increase a lot of the reforms that he had started in the previous term.
Yeah, it's certainly going to be difficult to get to consensus on many of those signature elements that he spoke about. But of course, now he is back as president again. He's got to focus on the business at hand. The economy is again on people's minds. Yesterday, we had a CPI figure come out of South Africa. In general, has the news that has come through over the course of the last few weeks been good news or challenging news for this new administration?
It's seeming like, on the whole, Joumanna, it is relatively positive, especially, you were mentioning at the top there the reaction, in particular with the benchmark stock index. We've also seen the rand strengthening. It continued to strengthen yesterday after this inauguration. And so when we just talk about CPI, a lot of the analysts, when they're looking at the rest of the year, they're thinking that potentially we'll see inflation cooling even more if we do continue to see the rand strengthening, and also seeing food prices and fuel prices potentially easing. And so potentially, yes, it does make it slightly a better situation for this incoming government. But still, this 5.2% is above where the central bank wants it. They're very intent. We've heard the central bank governor talk about this 4.5%, which is smack dab in the middle of their 3 to 6% midpoint range. So there is still a way to go. But now that this government of national unity is formed, potentially a lot of the uncertainty around whether or not government would be able to work together in order to institute some policy and economic reforms is alleviated now, taking some pressure off the central bank. The question now, though, is will they begin to start cutting? Our Bloomberg economist here, Yvonne Mango, does believe that we will see a cut by the end of 2024. Some analysts here in South Africa are a little bit skeptical about that. But yes, I would say it is relatively good news, especially when we look at food prices easing in May and continuing to potentially ease with a stronger rand.